So.
Sorry.
Wait.
This is not uncomfortable, but it's very weird.
This is the thing?
This is the one.
Absolutely. And now it almost couldn't have happened in a better way.
Where do you want to be?
So it was just like,
Am I funny? Now if I go over here, am I still funny?
Better strategy.
Yeah, way better.
I never thought about that.
Yes, it worked
I don't see it 5 years from now that you're not my most famous friend.
You really have to commit to something. Good to have something pushing you.
That's cool. That was really cool.
Yeah, it might be cool.
This is On the Cusp.
Hello, I'm Ben Greene and welcome to On the Cusp. This week my guest is Betsy Sodaro. Betsy can be seen performing at the UCB Theater in LA all the time. She's on teams like Bangarang and Nephew and can be seen in shows like Search History and Ass Cat. On TV, you may have seen Betsy on shows like Animal Practice, Kroll Show, and Big Time in Hollywood, Florida. And currently, Betsy is one of the stars of the TBS show Clipped. If this is your first time listening to On the Cusp, then welcome to the show, and it's good to meet you. You can listen to On the Cusp in a number of places. You can find it on SoundCloud, on iTunes, or on Stitcher, and I hope you'll subscribe to the show in one of those places. This week's episode of On the Cusp is sponsored by Thai Pepper, home of the best Thai food in Los Angeles. We are also sponsored by the new children's book, How to Keep Your Helicopter, which was both written and illustrated by me, Ben Greene. How to Keep Your Helicopter is the story of a 7-year-old boy who loves his toy helicopter more than anything else in the world. And it's about what happens when his little sister Sandy wants that toy helicopter, but he doesn't really want to share it with her. It's about some tricks that a kid can use to both keep their toy helicopter, not have to share it with their little sister, and also be very nice to that sister at the same time. That might sound impossible, but I promise the book will actually go into how that can be done. If you want to buy How to Keep Your Helicopter, you can find it on Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. It's recommended for kids 4 to 8 years old, but I've also met people who are about 70 to 80 years older than that who seem to really enjoy the book. For more information, please go to www.howtokeepyourhelicopter.com. So, my guest today is Betsy Sodaro. And did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay, good. And I'm with Mano Agapian. Did I say that right?
No.
Oh, how is it said?
No, that's correct.
Okay,
I'm just
good,
joking.
Good. And Mano is Betsy's roommate and one of her best friends. And Mano, I brought Mano on the show because I thought it might be fun to talk a little bit about what makes Betsy such a special person and performer. So, Mano, any fun stories, first of all, that like sort of speak to who Betsy is?
Yeah. Betsy is the best. And one story that comes to mind that reminds me of this is when we were in Las Vegas one time and we were drunk and we were in a gift shop in our hotel. I think it was the gift shop at the Luxor. And I don't know why we thought it was so funny. We noticed, we noticed that like they had huge sizes in these gift shops. And we thought it would be funny if we created a character and started asking for gifts for this character. So I think we decided to ask, I can't tell if I started or she started, but we started asking the clerk if they had 4XLs. And we created a small story about how our Aunt Tawny needs a 4XL. It's absolutely the only thing she'll wear. To the point where we made this poor clerk check her, like, the back inventory. And we just, every time she came back, she was like, we have 3XLs. And we together played this game where we were like, no, she's as big as a house. We can't get her that. She'll only fit into 4XLs. And it was just fun because she was so gung-ho to do this stupid thing. It's not a prank, but just this stupid bit, like, in public, just for the sake of saying yes to that moment. And it was it's just one thing that reminds me of how Betsy will say yes to any funny thing. She like never shoots a thing down. She's always like, yeah, let's run with that weird idea.
And is there anything you can say that sort of speaks to what Betsy is like as a person in just regular day-to-day life?
Yeah, she is just a really good person. She'll always get your back. I think I'm sort of trying to remember, we were lucky enough to go to like Greece last year. And there was one day where we had just done everything, like where we had like gone to the beach and gone drinking and ate food, and I want to say we even went on like a boat ride. We just did everything. And even though she was absolutely exhausted and like falling asleep by the end of the night, she still was very selflessly being like, no, I'm great. Let's keep going. Because she just knew that the cool thing to do was to say yes for everyone else's sake and like not necessarily put her needs before everyone else's. And that was just an example of how it's like, yeah, she's just a fucking team player, I guess you could say. She's just cool and into what everyone else is doing, and oftentimes puts her needs last.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, Mano, thank you so much for talking to me, and to everybody else, get ready for my interview with the amazing a person who always puts herself last. She's the first. Betsy Sodaro. Woo. What was like your show regimen this week? What were the shows you've done so far in the night times?
What were the shows? Okay. We'll start with Sunday. Is that how we
let's start on Sunday.
Okay, great. Sunday I had Search History at 11 p.m. at Franklin.
And what kind of show is that?
That's an improv show where we look at somebody's phone search history and interview them about it, and then do like 45, 50 minutes off of that. It's super fun. Great cast. A lot of awesome people. And like the crowds have been great, which is so fun.
They've been real. It's Sunday nights at UCB Franklin?
Yeah, at 11.
So it's like, and is that where like Shitty Jobs used to be?
Yeah, I think so.
And now is that earlier?
And now it's the show before, so I guess at 9:30. But like the audience is awesome. Like every Sunday we're just like, whoa, what a cool crowd, you know? I think it's a lot of younger people, because we'll also make references sometimes to silence.
Do you see the same people coming every week?
Yeah, we do sometimes, which is awesome, and they're so nice. And
Search History super fans.
Yeah, totally. So I had that on Sunday, and then and then I hosted Harold's with Mano, because we have a show on Saturday coming up. So I hosted Harold's, and then Tuesday...
What was your bit at Harold hosting?
So our show that we were, like, hosting for was a party show. And so we did a bit of Never Have I Ever. And Mano and I gave a few examples to where they were super specific to one another. You know, so like... what was one that he did for me? One of his that he did for me was he would go, never have I ever almost broken my leg from punting a pumpkin. And so I was the only one who raised my hand and took a drink. And then we like got the audience involved with like more generic ones. So that was one bit. And then another bit was us just telling some drunk stories, and then what are some of your drunk stories, and then giving away tickets. That's about it. Yeah.
That's really fun.
Pretty chill. So that, and then I had a busy week. This is not that typical. I had a busy week. So Tuesday I had the Winslow show, Super Teams, where they ask like one person to put together just a fun team of improvisers and do whatever they want. And so I asked the cast of Clipped to come. And so
That's so fun.
it was so much fun. Like, and everybody came who could. Lauren unfortunately couldn't, and Mike Castle couldn't, which was a bummer. But then everybody else could. Like Ashley Tisdale did improv for the first time ever, and it was such a blast.
How was she?
She was great. She was great. Everybody killed it, and it was really fun because I was like, okay, I'm ready to like take the lead if need be, you know, like. But every single person was so excited to step out there and to like get into the scenes and stuff. So it was really awesome. And immediately they're like, let's do it again. I was like, okay, we can do it whenever you guys
Oh, that's
want.
so
Like,
fun.
yeah, it was awesome.
I hope Clipped gets their own show.
I do.
UCB.
Yeah. Well, weekly show. So that was Tuesday. And then Wednesday I did Cage Match at 11 p.m. with Mano and Steve, and we're called Beefy. So we did Cage Match.
How'd you come up with that name?
Don't remember.
That's a good improv team name.
Right? What? How did we? My immediate gut response is maybe something to do with Taco Bell. But I don't know. I can't remember how
Did you guys win?
we did not.
Is there a reigning champion right now at Cage Match?
It's Becky Drysdale and Heather Campbell.
That's an awesome team.
Yeah, absolutely. But we had...
And Heather Campbell dominated for over
so
a year
long. Yeah.
as Heather and Miles.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So they're killing it. But we had a really fun show. And it was great because like we went first, and like the first line immediately set the tone for what kind of show we were gonna do, but also it set the tone, like the audience set the tone for being like, yeah, do this kind of show. And it was just Mano, like, the three of us were just sitting in chairs, and it was Mano, and he just goes, so it's settled, ladies. We're all gonna cheat on our husband. And like that was like what it turned into. I'm just like, yes, great. Let's just kind of go nuts, and that was really fun.
What a great initiation.
Yeah, it was so perfect, and just something where both Steve and I were like, oh yeah, let's do it. And we ended up doing a pretty flower from that, which was so fun. And then I sat in with Convoy last night. I had a wild week. Convoy last night, which was so much fun. It's always a dream come true to play with any of those guys. It was me, Fernie, and Todd, and it was so much fun. And then tonight, Bangarang and Brand New Ball, and then tomorrow. So it's been a big week.
But so many great shows.
Yeah, so much fun. So much fun.
A week like that makes it sound like you're probably up late most nights.
Yeah.
Does that mean it's like hard to wake up like at the crack of dawn the next morning?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, and luckily, like, I didn't really have to get up too early this week. But luckily I don't ever really have to get up too early.
Good.
Like, I think the earliest I had to get up was like 7:30.
For
and
a
that
shoot?
was after, for like an audition.
Cool.
Because I've really gotten into the mode of like, before an audition or something, of just really like, even if it's at like 10 or 10:30, just to be up for those hours, whether I'm like working on it or not, helps me just kind of almost just warm up to the day, rather than like waking up at 9 and just like, okay, I got an hour and a half before this audition. Like, I like to just kind of chill out before I go in an audition. Does that make sense?
That's so smart. I feel like you're letting yourself be on your own team.
Yeah.
I will, like, if I have an audition, wake up an hour before.
Yeah, and
just,
I
like,
used to do
hope
that.
I can roll there.
Yeah, I used to do that, and then I would just find myself not like super, once in a while, super panicky, but like just kind of more of like, like just a little like, okay, what's happening? Because
Right,
it
you don't
takes
want to
me
be
a while.
like wiping sleep out of your eyes.
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
audition.
Yeah,
I
so, like-
have that.
Yeah, I have two, where it's just kind of like, what's happening? Like, And so just to have like a moment, like just a few hours before going, unless, you know, if the audition's at 9 or something, well, 7:30 still, but like, yeah, like just to have a few hours so I can just kind of slowly get up and move and take my time waking up, you know?
Yeah. But what a cool week of shows.
Yeah,
I know.
it was a fun
I know you're
week.
saying it's not typical, but like,
Yeah.
even if it's close to typical,
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was so fun.
So originally, you've always lived in California.
I am not.
Oh,
I'm from
okay.
Colorado.
Colorado. Mm-hmm. And where were you born in Colorado?
I was born in Nebraska and then lived in Wyoming until I was 7 and then moved to Colorado.
Oh, so yeah, you weren't
Yeah.
even born in Colorado.
I wasn't even born in Colorado.
So, what were your parents doing in Nebraska in the first place?
Yeah, so we were at this weird little town on the border of Wyoming and Nebraska. And I guess when I was being born, the better hospital was in this little Nebraska town. So we drove over to Nebraska, or my parents did, had me, and then so they were living in Wyoming.
Got it. So you were just technically born in Nebraska.
Yeah, it's all technically.
You can't be like president of Wyoming because you weren't born there.
I guess I can't. Damn it. I really would love to be president of Wyoming.
I'm sorry.
No, that's perfect. No, Wyoming is. It's.
So Wyoming was where you got to be 7.
Yeah, that's where I grew up to be 7.
What were your parents doing like as jobs, and how did they meet each other?
Okay, so in Wyoming, my dad was an 8th grade English teacher, and my mom ran a daycare out of our house. They met in Alaska years before that. They met in Alaska working like I can't remember the town, but like in this weird little, not weird, I mean just a little town in Alaska. They were working at a school there for all the like natives, where they would teach the I don't know what the proper term is, but like I think they're
I don't
just
think
called
it's
natives
Eskimos.
now, right? Yeah, I don't think
I
we're-
want to say that.
Yeah, I don't think it's Eskimos. I don't think it's Inuits anymore. I think it is just now natives. So they were working in a school there for like a year, to where they have crazy stories. Like they got chased by a moose together. Like they were on a walk and a moose like chased them down. They would eat
That would
like,
make anybody fall in love.
Right? I was like, was that the moment? They're like, oh yeah. Like it would be negative 80 degrees out sometimes in the winter, and like one of their friends stepped out and his glasses shattered because it was so cold. And like they would eat roadkill. They have crazy stories from Alaska, which is cool. And that's where they met. And my dad was actually, I think, engaged at the time with someone else, and then fell in love with my mom. And it was on ever since, I think. But yeah, so they met up in Alaska, and I think for one of their anniversaries, maybe like their 35th, they went on a big Alaskan cruise to kind of...
Very cool.
Yeah.
Were you their first kid?
I was their last. So they had 4 kids. My oldest sister is 10 years older than me. And then the next sister is 8 years older than me. And then the next sister is 6 years older than me. And then I was definitely a surprise.
And did you feel like the baby of the family growing up?
Yeah, totally. And it was kind of wild because like when, right before we moved to Colorado, so like as I was turning 7, my oldest sister was going to college.
Yeah.
And
that's
so
such
that
a
was really
big
weird
age
of like,
difference.
we never really got to hang out until I moved to LA because she was living in LA. And it was like we would of course always visit. I would see her at least twice a year, you know. But it was really fun, like just getting to hang out and be like, we've never gotten to just chill together.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
kind
it
of
was fun.
getting to know your sister for the first time.
Yeah, it was cool.
You think your dad was surprised, like, to have, like, all daughters and grow up in a house that was, like, dominated by women?
Yeah, I think so. We always had boy dogs. I think that was kind of the deal. Is like, we always had boy dogs. But yeah, it's pretty nuts. And then, like, Sodaro's, it's all about the girls because Amy had a daughter, and Katie's now gonna have 2 daughters. So it's just like, it's not happening, guys.
It's a whole dynasty of women.
Yeah.
What was it like to have a daycare center in your house?
It was great because I was just part of it. And so it was like neighborhood friends. So my friends would just come over and we would play all day and like hang out. And I remember one of my favorite memories from this is like we would play Wizard of Oz and my mom would play the Wicked Witch from the West, and she had the best, like, and scariest witch cackle. And so we would just be, like, running around the house, just screaming our heads off, and my mom would chase us with a broom. And it was the funnest time. It was awesome. And I'd always be the Cowardly Lion. That guy was my jam.
Why'd you gravitate towards that?
I don't know. I think he always made me laugh, and I was like, yeah, that guy. And he was a lion. That was pretty rad. I always did that, though. We would also, I remember during these times, we would play Sleeping Beauty, the Disney cartoon Sleeping Beauty. And I was always, like, either Merryweather, you know, the blue fat fairy, or Prince Charming's horse.
I love that those are the two
like,
characters.
The kid would, like, I can't remember his name, but one of the kids would be like, be Sleeping Beauty. I was like, no, man. Sleeping Beauty's not fun. I want to be the fat fairy or the horse. Like, come on. That's kind of all I remember because I was so little that, like, I can't really remember too much. But I do remember those moments.
There's something interesting about, like, I think of your house that you live in with, like, Mano and Gilly as being, like, such a hub of, like, that people are always, like, going over to.
Yeah.
And, like, I've always thought, like, and even, like, late at night, I've always thought, like, oh, man, I would be, like, if people were always in my house, like, so late at night, I would be really troubled by it. But it makes sense that, like, you had, like, all these kids in your house, like, growing up, and that was what felt comfortable to you. Do you feel like there's some linkage to those things?
I do, and now that you're saying it, because, like, Mano has a bunch of siblings, Gilly has 2 siblings, like, it does, and, like, when Mary was living with us, like, she has a bunch of siblings, like, it does make sense of, like, us, because all of us are like, yeah, let's have people around, you know, and I really do think, I never really thought of it, but that does make sense of just kind of, like, I like being around a lot of people, and, you know.
Yeah.
I do think that must be it, or, like, part of it. It's fun. Whenever you want to come over, come on over.
Thanks. And that's why in your neighbors who went crazy, we're both the only children.
Yeah, probably. Ugh. Those guys.
Can you think of a couple of stories that, like, really speak to who you were as a little kid?
Yeah. I have one that immediately came to mind. So my dad is also, and now this is his full-time job, is a playwright, mostly for, like, children's theater, but once in a while does, not once in a while, but also does, like, I don't know what the term is, I guess just adult theater and stuff. And when we were in Wyoming, he also, in the summers, would work at Fort Laramie, which is this fort that I remember was on Oregon Trail. And I would be so stoked, like, when I was playing it in 2nd grade, being like, I've been there, you guys. I've been to Fort Laramie, whatever.
That is very exciting.
Yeah, it was huge. It was pretty big. And in the summers, he would work there. And then in the summers, we would do melodramas that he wrote. And, like, all of my family would be in them. Except for a few years, I wouldn't because I was so little. and then like a bunch of friends. And I think like every Sunday afternoon at Fort Laramie, we would do this outdoor melodrama and like a lot of costumes, and it's stinky hot and stuff. And when I was 3, and my dad wrote the melodramas, and he's a funny guy. And there's one where the villain's like sidekick was this giant rubber spider. I can't remember what her name was, but like, yeah, that was like the villain's sidekick. And my mom was playing the heroine. That's a word, right?
Yeah.
Even though it's also a drug. Yeah. Okay. The heroine, and like, so there's this spider on a stool, and my mom's losing her shit because she's acting and she's scared of this awful thing. And I was just watching from the side, and I pick up a huge rock, huge for 3-year-old Betsy, and I like walk out onto the quote unquote stage, and I take the rock and I smash it on the rubber spider, and like the audience just like started cheering and laughing, and like my mom started laughing, and I just like looked around and then just started bawling and ran off. And like we have a picture of like me running back, just like tears, and then you can like see in the background just all of these like people at Fort Laramie just like, yeah, like cheering. And so that I feel kind of has shaped me in a way. Luckily, it didn't scare the shit out of me, but it was like, yeah, let's go for that more. And just the idea, because then the following years, until we moved, I would be in those melodramas, like just a little role that I would be in. And so that, like, just, my family was very into theater, and so that was just kind of like, oh yeah, this is what we do. Like,
Yeah,
this is
it's cool that
part of
you've
my
just
life.
been doing this your whole life.
Yeah. And so that was one. What's another? I definitely have. Oh, I remember. I would watch whatever my sisters would watch, you know, and I was obsessed with like Pee-wee's Big Adventure and UHF when I was little.
The Weird Al Yankovic.
The Weird Al Yankovic, which if you haven't seen it, watch it. It's streaming right now on Amazon. It's great. It's so funny. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen at least parts of it and thought it was very weird.
It's
and fun.
So weird, but just so funny. And there's this part where, so the basic part of the movie is like his uncle, Weird Al, can't hold a job, and his uncle owns this very weird little television station, and so he's like, yeah, why don't you watch it, whatever, you know, and Weird Al becomes like gets into it, and is like, okay, whatever. So he's running this TV station, and there's this one moment where in one of the shows he has this guest who is like showing him a saw, like a bandsaw, you know, that you go like, zzz,
Yeah.
and he's like showing him how to use it and cuts off his thumb. And so it's just like just the bit of so much blood everywhere, and he's still trying to like perform for the camera of like, this is how it works, you know. This part where he goes, I guess you could call me Butterfingers. And I thought it was so funny. I thought that part was so funny. And I remember in first grade, I was saying that. I was saying like, I guess you could call me Butterfingers. And I remember a kid was like, Betsy keeps saying butt. Betsy keeps saying butt. And like got me in trouble. And I like went to the teacher, and she's like, why do you keep saying butts? And I was like, no. I was saying Butterfingers from UHF. It's really funny. And like I still got in trouble because she was like, you can't say butt. So I think maybe that was like...
That teacher was way in the wrong.
Yeah, come on. I was just quoting UHF. I got in trouble a lot pretty much throughout high school for talking. And it wasn't necessarily like bits and jokes all the time, but it was just talking. Like, I liked talking.
Were you like a person who would like make a quip in class? Or,
I would.
Say something that would make everybody laugh?
Yeah, I would. A lot of, especially in high school, like elementary school, absolutely with the point of, I'm gonna destroy this. Like, I'm gonna kill with this remark. Middle school, I started becoming, a classic middle schooler who was just so insecure and an asshole and I wanted to be cool. And so like it would a lot of times like turn mean and not funny. And so I kind of stopped for a while because I was like, oh, I'm an asshole. I'm losing friends because I'm being an asshole. So I chilled out for a while. And then around like sophomore year of high school, like I would say things and just start getting like, and people would laugh at them and I would genuinely like mean them. And then I was just like, all right, I'm back. Here we go. Let's be kind of goofy. But like there were some, like I sat in the hall a lot throughout all of elementary school and middle school. And sometimes in high school I'd get sent out in the hall for talking. And like one time, there was one point in like 5th grade where I came into school, and one time my desk was just in the middle of the room, surrounded by everybody else's desks. And the teacher's like, yeah, now you can talk to everybody if you want, but everybody will know you're talking. And I was just like, all right, fair enough. And then like I would always get that desk like away from everybody that had like the high sides on it. I would get that a lot too. and one time like my desk got moved into the coat room because I was just talking so much.
I love that as a theme of growing up.
Yeah.
You like today, like everybody obviously knows you as being like having the best energy and like, just being one of the best people.
Thanks.
Can you speak more to like that period of like, was it just in middle school that you felt like a little bit lost or insecure?
Yeah, it was mostly middle school. Honestly, like mostly 8th grade was an awful year.
So what was that year feeling like? And what were you insecure about?
Insecure about absolutely everything. Constantly wanting to please people, fellow students and stuff.
And what kind of please? Because you said you were also being a bully, so like it wasn't just being nice. Was it please the quote unquote cool kids, I think, which I had been friends with before. But there was just this like weird, I don't know, and 8th grade is tough, I feel, for everyone. Like there's so much shit going on inside of you. But just that wanting to be so cool to where it was like, oh, you guys are into skateboarding? Cool. I'm into skateboarding. And being like, I don't fucking skateboard. Like, what? I want to just do, like, theater and play soccer. Like, and just thinking, like, oh, yeah, I'm going to make fun of these kids because you'll think that's cool, right? And then in the end, the cool kids are making, the quote-unquote cool kids are making fun. It was just really weird, and I, like, lost friends because I was trying so hard to be a person who I wasn't, And for my whole life up until then, I was always just like, yeah, man, I'm having fun. I don't care what people think. Like, my parents would sometimes let me dress myself, and I would go to school in, like, these huge cowboy boots that my dad owned. So they're, like, a man's cowboy boots and a fucking sombrero, And just be so, like, yeah, dude, whatever. And it was, like, in 8th grade where I just really started just being like, what? How do I want to be, like, the cool, like,
let's be cool. And it was a really hard year for me. And I mean, I guarantee it was a hard year for absolutely everyone I know. But it was just like, I would get made fun of, I think because I had like a shitty attitude and I was trying so hard to not be who I was.
What broke you out of it?
I think losing friends or people not wanting to hang out with me anymore, and just these moments of like, I guarantee my parents kept me in check too, of like, what? Why do you care? You know? Because they've always been very much like, yeah, be yourself. Like, hey, all we want is for you to be a nice person. That's all we ask, you know? And I was so just like confused and just like, oh, is that group cool enough to hang out with? I don't know. Is that, you know? And just not focusing on me. You know?
And that's what you feel like you returned to, was just like not caring again?
Yeah, I think like around sophomore year, because like, you know, and then freshman year is such a change, but I did start to kind of like, towards the end of 8th grade, I was like, I don't ever want to be like that again. That was awful. I'm not that kind of person. Like, I gotta just do my own thing, and I know in my heart I'll be better for it. Like, I'll have friends and stuff. And so, like, freshman year was kind of just a transition year where I was kind of just getting back into, like, all right, okay, yeah, okay, I'm just going to be myself and make people laugh. And that's how I'm going to, like, get to know people and break the ice and everything. And then, sophomore year, I feel that's when it kind of just started getting back. I started getting just back to myself of like, and not worried about who I was hanging out with, and just trying to be friends with everyone, you know? Like, just totally being like, why can't we all just hang out? And I was like pretty lucky. My high school, from my point of view, which I mean, I don't know, like, a lot of groups got along.
That's cool.
Which was really cool. Like, and I was friends, you know, because I did sports, but I also did theater, and, like, I had a lot of friends who would do sports, but also some who did theater, you know, so it was just kind of like, I don't know, and by our senior year, it was a lot of all of us hanging out together, I guess. Like, it was pretty chill. There were cliques, but I felt like I was friends with a lot of those cliques, you know? Like, I would be more than happy to hang out with any of those cliques whenever. But, I'm there, like, 8th grade was the worst, but I'm so glad it happened because it did keep me in check, and it has kept me in check forever here on out. I'm just kind of like, wait, why am I doing this? Because I want to be, you know?
Yeah, most people
like,
have to do something wrong for like 20 years to snap out of it.
Yeah.
It's nice that
it was
you got
like
it out of
probably
it.
two solid years technically, but in high school, like, it just started being like, you know what? I just want to be nice to everyone and be friends with them. Like, it's hard to just be negative all the time. Or it's really hard to try to be cool all the time. It's exhausting.
I remember you saying that, like, there was a time that you thought maybe you'd want to, like, do athletics in, like, a more professional kind of way.
Yeah. I was, since elementary school, so into soccer. Very into soccer in middle school. Like, soccer was my jam. That was the one where I was like, I could maybe do this, to the point where, like, junior and senior year of high school, I was like, oh man, should I try to, like, play, like, soccer in college? And I got offered, like, some scholarships and stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, should I do this? Like, I should be a soccer player, because I loved it. Like, I really loved it. But there were moments where I would realize, like, oh, oh God, like I love it, but the competition level, like the competitiveness of it, I don't think I can handle anymore. I don't think I can do this anymore. Both coming from me and other teams and situations that happen within our team. Because I would find myself, like I got a red card my senior year because I called a ref a fucking bitch. Or a stupid bitch. After, and so I would have these moments where I'm like, ooh, I don't like being like that. Like, I don't like getting so worked up over a thing that should just be fun to me, like, of a thing I love. Even though you need to be competitive to really, like I don't ever fault anybody for being competitive, because, yeah, you're passionate, you love this game, but for me, it was like, ooh, that's exhausting to get so worked up. I don't think I want to do that. And I was like, I think I want to just do theater. Like,
Did you have a moment with like a parent who said something like?
I did. It was awful. It was our first time getting to state, which was big because we, like, my friends and I, and who I like grew up in middle school playing soccer with, we were the ones who got, I think we were the ones who got girls soccer in middle school, because I believe in 6th grade there wasn't a girls team, but there was enough of girls where we're like, let's start campaigning for a girls soccer team. So in 7th grade we got that. And so, and the same for high school, like we were, I'll say it, we were the beginning of girls soccer in Summit County, of like, we started the middle school team and we started the high school team. So like,
lay the groundwork for that to be exist.
Like we were the beginning
today.
of it. And so our second or third year of being a team, we like made it to state.
Which is pretty amazing.
Huge. Like, and we were so excited, and like, it was, we also, like, I grew up in the mountains, and where there would sometimes be snow until the end of school. And so we would never really have home games, and we would train in our gym. Like, our practices were in the gym because a lot of times it'd be blizzarding outside. We're like, well, can't play outside. But this was like one of our first home games ever also, and it was like our first state game. And I can't remember who we were playing, but I think we were down like 1 or 2 goals, and I was a goalie. I was the goalkeeper. And I was still like positive, like, hey, whatever, we can do this. Like, we got this. And I was walking off at halftime, and a parent came up to me as I was like walking to like go have a meeting, or is that what it's called? I don't know what it is. A meeting, a halftime meeting with the group, with the team, and the parent comes up to me, hey Betsy, how you doing? Oh, I'm right. Oh yeah, I'm all right. Oh yeah, really? Are you? Oh yeah, I'm having fun. Yeah? Because you need to get your head in the goddamn game. And I'm like, I think I was 16, so maybe it was like my sophomore year, 15 or 16. And so, like, and he, like, said it, like, not joking, like, it was intense. And I immediately just start bawling. And so I walk into our little huddle or meeting, whatever it is, our halftime talk, and I'm bawling. Like, I'm just so sad and upset and just like, he said this. And, like, the coaches and the team were just like, what? Why would what? What's going on? And I remember just like playing the rest of the game, and I think we lost. I mean, we absolutely lost because we were done with state after that. But I remember I was just a mess for that second half, mentally, just like, and like mental stuff is huge in sports. I mean, and in comedy, like mentally being ready to let loose or whatever it might be. But like, I was a mess, and I just remember after the game still crying, and parents and teammates coming up like, don't worry about it. And I just remember like talking to my friends and her parents just crying and being like, God, I just want to like do comedy and I have to deal with stuff like this. And like, I remember straight up saying that and I think my parents were there too, because this was when I was really also starting to get into comedy and like, how do I do SNL? Like kind of that moment. And yeah, and so that was intense. And that was a big thing of like, I don't know if I want to do sports with people acting like this, and me acting like this at points, like calling a ref a stupid bitch. What? Why would I do that?
Yeah, there's just too much like crazy emotion rolling around from everybody.
It's terrifying from everyone. Parents, players, refs, coaches. Ugh, too much for me to handle.
So who were your major comedy influences that like made you like you wanted to go into comedy because you loved it?
Yeah.
But also you had some people that like you like really looked up to in the comedy world?
Yeah, I mean Chris Farley's huge. I was immediately just like in love with him and his comedy. Of just as soon as I saw him on SNL, I was like, who? What? This guy is perfect. And I think another one, like growing up, my dad is super into I Love Lucy, and we would watch hours of that. And I still am such a huge Lucille Ball fan. And that, I think, was a huge inspiration. She was a huge inspiration to me because it's like, whoa, this funny, like, and I hate bringing this up, but like this funny woman who has her own show and is killing it in a world where, you know, at the time, you know, wasn't Bing Crosby like hitting ladies with sacks of oranges or something? I don't know. But, you know.
That was
like,
the competition.
Yeah. Like, it was just like, wow, she's incredible.
All the other roles were you're going to be hit with orange.
Yeah. But, like, it was like she was the highlight of that, which is just awesome. And she's so funny. And then Simpsons was gigantic for me.
And left a big mark on your, like, idea of what's funny.
Yeah, absolutely. And that Simpsons is huge. And then SNL just in general. Saturday Night Live was really big. But then I look, and I have so many, I guess, because, like, Pee-wee's Big, like, so many. I was obsessed with Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and I still am. Like, it's, I think, maybe my favorite movie. And I was obsessed with it since I was 4 years old. I was like, this is incredibly funny.
That's really cool that it was lighting something up in you, like, so young.
Yeah. And then, like, I'll go through waves. Like, I went through a huge Monty Python phase, you know, where I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to, like, be with a group of friends, a troupe, and, you know, make movies and television shows and stuff. And then, yeah, like, and I still feel like I'm constantly being inspired, comedically wise, whether it's just seeing a friend doing an amazing improvised scene, or if it's just like Broad City, like, holy shit, this is such a great show. It inspires, you know, whatever it might be.
That's really cool. So did you feel like starting to think you might want to go into comedy, did that feel like a realistic thing that you could, like, make your way to?
I think man, because I still am constantly blown away that I get to do it for a living. Like, it still blows me away every day. I'm like, holy shit, this is wild. But, like, I started just doing plays and stuff in high school. And I'd been doing plays and you know, but, like, it was fun once it wasn't, like, my dad casting, you know, and his shows, and where it was, like, in high school, and a whole different director and a whole different play I'd never even heard of or something like that. And, you know, I started getting cast in the, like, character roles, the smaller character roles, which, yeah, that's great. And I had such a blast. And I can't remember what I think it may have been after, like, Grease or something, where I was the principal. I think that's the the like teacher role, and I had such a good time, and I was in maybe like 2 scenes, but I like got laughs. And I was like, that's awesome. And I remember my parents like coming up to me, and this was in high school. I think I was like a junior in high school, and then just being like, Betsy, you're really funny. And they've been telling me that like my whole life, but that was like such a moment of like, holy shit, cool. Maybe I can do this, you know? Like,
I like how much your parents were the people telling you and making you believe it.
yeah. And they'd always been like, because I would get in trouble in school and stuff. But my parents were always just kind of like, you're funny. Like, you got in trouble, but that was a funny thing you did for getting in trouble. And like, my mom, she now still like, she's retired, but she'll still sub, and she'll like call me and we'll talk and stuff, and she'll be like, there's this one kid I was subbing who reminded me so much of you, like wouldn't stop talking but was making me laugh. And so it was very hard to send him or her to the principal's office, because I was legitimately just like, you are funny, like you have to shut up, but you are funny, you know? And like,
you're the student improv class.
Yeah, exactly. So that was like a big moment where I was like, can I really do this? I want to. I really, really want to. And I was, of course, worried, like, I was worried of, do I need a backup plan? But then the more I started doing like, because I also like around my junior and senior year of high school started auditioning for like the local theater shows and stuff, and like started getting into those and realizing like, oh man, I would also maybe be happy just being a ski bum or like, you know, working for a resort in the day and then getting to do theater at night. Like, okay. Or like, it would be fun to run a local theater. Like, so I started seeing, and this was also throughout college, like, oh, there are ways that I could still like make a living doing theater, even if it's not on Broadway or whatever. Like, I didn't really know, but I knew I wanted to do it. I wanted to study it. And I specifically like focused on I want to do comedy. I just didn't know how and didn't have the resources yet.
So how did you start pursuing it in college?
So there was like a little improv group, I think my sophomore year and maybe a little bit of my junior year, but it was like short form, and none of us knew really what was going on. And I think it stopped. Actually, I think it stopped after sophomore year. Because I went in my freshman year, I went to Marymount Manhattan College in New York first, for the first semester to do theater. And, but it was one, like, I remember as soon as I got there, they were like, get ready because you probably won't get cast in a show until junior or senior year. And I was like, what? I want to just do shows. Like, to me, I've always had that idea of like doing it and practicing it will make you better. Soccer-wise, comedy-wise, everything-wise. And so I thought theater-wise.
Yeah, and I agree with that idea.
You gotta,
that's definitely what it is like...
You have to just do it.
The 10,000 hours idea.
Yes.
It makes more sense than anything else.
And I was so just like, oh boy. And then I remember just meeting so many people like in the theater major or whatever, BFA or whatever it was, just talking to them. I was like, oh, so what kind of plays have you done and stuff? And people just being like, oh, I've never done a play. And it's just like, but you're majoring in like acting? Yeah. What is happening? I was so confused. And I started getting really awful like panic attacks and stuff in New York City because I was 18 and from a mountain town, and it was just too much of a city, and it still is to this day too much of a city. And so I got like pretty sick, and over Christmas break, I was like, I can't go back. I don't like it there. It was too much for me, and I'm like not doing what I love, and I can barely afford to be there. I don't want this. And so I then transferred to Western State College of Colorado, which is a teeny little school. Like, I think there was like 2,500 kids there, and it's now called something else. It's now a university, but a few of my really good friends from high school were skiing there and going there, and I was like, I want to go there. And it was awesome. And I was a theater major there, and I immediately started doing shows there, whether it was in the community of Gunnison, Colorado, because they have like a little arts center and stuff, which was awesome, or if it was through the school. And like from there on, I was doing at the very least a play a semester, if not, but usually more, like sometimes 3 shows a semester. And I was just so happy, and like the professors knew me by name, I knew them by first name, and it was just a really fun, like, small theater department, but I learned so much, and was able to do it so much, and started realizing, like, oh my gosh, there are ways, because I was so scared of, will I be able, like, a theater degree, what? Will I be able to make a living doing this? And I started learning, like, oh my gosh, there are ways to do that. Like, because I was learning how to run a theater in the school, and I was also learning how to develop original pieces with teenagers and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I could also teach drama if I wanted to. And so, like, and the whole time, no matter what, just being like, I really want to do comedy, but I now think I could fall back on a theater degree. Like, does that make sense? Of like
Totally.
learning, like, I could use this theater degree to get a job somewhere, still doing what I love. And so now that became kind of my backup to comedy, of like, now I want to do comedy. And so at Western, there was like the little improv group that I think stopped in like our junior year. And so I improv and sketch. And so I did that, but I was still just kind of like, I don't know. And I won't say we were doing it wrong, but we definitely weren't nailing it. You know, we weren't just doing the basics of improv. Which of course we weren't. Nobody told us what it meant, and all we were doing is watching Who's Line and being like, yeah, okay, I could be a bad doctor, like, whatever. So around like junior and senior year, you know, that idea of like, okay, I'm almost graduated, what's the next move, especially in comedy, or wanting to be what do I want to do? And the whole time going through, I was like, I want to be on SNL. I want to be on SNL. I want to be on SNL. And junior and senior year, I started really researching and studying, like, how do you do that? How did all these people do that? And I was scared of stand-up, and I was like, I don't want to do stand-up. How do I do it? And so I started learning about, like, Second City and I.O., and then later UCB, and thinking, like, okay, that's the next step. Like, I have to move somewhere and get whatever shitty job that I can to just support taking classes and stuff. Okay, I'm gonna do that. And so then, like, so yeah, like, that's kind of where, and for my senior project, I did 2, like, hour-long improv shows that I wish I could see so bad. They were so sloppy, because I remember, like, reading about the Herald and having no clue what any of it meant. And so I thought, like, these were all, like, short-form games, because I only knew short-form.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, so we have our first scene. Great. Oh, actually, we did one time, because I was so confused in this show, where I was like, okay, so, like, I guess what happens is, like, the first scene starts with 2 people, and then we add a 3rd person, and then we add a 4th person, and then we add a 5th person, and that turns into a group game where we all do a group short form game, and then we like one person leaves, and that's like the second beats. I was so confused, but I remember doing those shows in like an awesome little black box theater that's at our school, and it was packed, and like just doing short form and just doing the very basics of it and trying a Herald, even though we never said we were doing a Herald. I was like, yeah, let's just try this weird thing, and having the best time of my life doing that and just being like, yeah, all right. And before that, my senior year, a Second City opened up in Denver, like a Second City touring show that I think was gonna be there for like 2 years or something. And I remember going and seeing it and being blown away. So that happened, going and seeing it and being blown away. But Second City came, I think, like my sophomore year. That's where it's all, or my freshman year when I was there. Sorry, this is all jumbled. They came my freshman year when I was at Western, and I remember being blown away. And just being like, how do I do that on stage? I want to do that. That's the funniest, most amazing thing I've ever seen. And it was like a sketch show with improv, like sketch and improv show. And I was just like, holy shit, I want to do this. This is what is awesome to me. Getting back on track, senior year, Second City comes to Denver, and a group of us were like, let's go see it. And we were blown away, and I was just like, yeah, I want to do this. I want to do that. And so then, using some of the stuff we saw at Second City, I put that in my senior project show. Like, because Second City, and I don't think they did this on purpose. I think this is just how the scene ended up. They did a completely silent scene. And I remember I was floored. Like, it was so good. And I remember setting up in my show. I was like, okay, great. And so after you guys do, I don't know, whatever it might be, ding dong sing or whatever, Luke and we will come out and we'll do a silent scene. Like, we'll get a suggestion and do a completely silent scene. And so it was like structured like that, but it was so much fun. And it was just like another thing to be like, yep, like another just like, I don't know, step in the ladder.
It's such a cool way to be challenging yourself to like, just like, this is a place where you have to do a silent scene.
Yeah.
And pull it off.
All right. Yeah, and make moves and choices. And it was really, it was just perfect. And before that, like, did you ever do like ACTF, or have you heard of it? Like,
no.
It's the American College Theater Festival, and there are a bunch of regions. So you got like East Coast, Mount, whatever. And we would do that every year. A dude would come, usually it was a dude when he came to our shows, would come and watch the like fall show or whatever, and then from there critique it, and then pick 2 people to be in this competition, which Drew DeFonso Marks won, I think.
Whoa.
Which is so wild because we were talking about it. And so we would get to go every year. You got to go to like, one time it was in Denver, but then other times it was like in Ashland, Oregon, or in Washington. And so we'd get to leave college for a week to go do this weird theater thing where there are like workshops all day and then shows at night. But for us, it was like, oh my God, we're a week away from school with one adult who's cool. Let's lose our minds.
Yeah.
But I remember, and I like, because I went to some workshops, but they were just like weird and not fun. But I always went to the improv workshops because I was like, this is the coolest. And so I also used stuff from the senior show that I did. And so, that's kind of like, that was college.
And was it a no-brainer to move to LA?
Well, so I was terrified.
Okay.
I knew I didn't want to live in New York just because of Marymount.
You don't want to be anywhere near Marymount.
Oh, I was like, I can't handle New York. And still to this day, I cannot handle. I'll go for like a week and be like, all right, great, I'm starting to have panic attacks. I gotta get out of here. It's too much. I knew I didn't want to do New York, and so I was like, oh, maybe Chicago. Like, my sister went to Northwestern. My dad's from Chicago. That could be really fun. Second city, great. But the summer after I graduated, I still stayed in Gunnison because I had a really fun job there, and I was like doing plays there over the summer, and it was just really fun. I started just doing research of like, hey, I want to, like, before I jump in at anywhere big, I want to just start small and learn the very basics without it being second city, because I think I was very scared of failing at something that I wanted so bad, you know? And so I started looking around at, like, places not in Colorado, a little bit in Colorado, but I really wanted to get out of Colorado, of, like, smaller comedy theaters where they do improv and sketch. And so I started, like, looking around and finding these places, and I had taken out a loan earlier because, like, my school was very cheap. Like, it was it was a small school and very affordable, and I was in state, so like I broke my ankle my senior year of college, and that cost more than, like, almost all of my tuition.
Wow.
Thanks, Mom and Dad. You guys are the best. So it was very cheap. And so I never had to take out a loan, and so my parents were like, let's take out a loan, first of all, to get you credit, but also, like, so now afterwards, because I was also thinking of, like, to go and audition and travel and, like, figure out what you want to do, because I was also thinking, like, it would be really fun to get into, like, a rep theater, like a summer rep theater or something like that, or, like, find a company to act with, you know, something like that. And so I took some money out, and I had some money to go, like, travel around, and I found this theater online in Sacramento, the Sacramento Comedy Spot, and they were holding auditions for, like, a team, for improv and sketch team. And I just, like, on a whim, I was like, I have money, I'll go out, and the World Cup was going on, so, like, in the day, I was, like, in Sacramento by myself for, like, 4 days, chilling, and I would, like, go in the day and just watch World Cup and hang out, and then there was an audition for this group, and I went, and it was so much fun, and I, like, killed the audition to where the director immediately was like, so what's your deal? And I told him, I was like, I live in Colorado, but I'm, like, looking, I want to get out, and I want to, like, start to learn the basics of, like, improv and sketch and see, like, if I really want to do this and see if I can. I think because I was very scared of failing at this thing that I was becoming obsessed with. And so then I flew back to Colorado, and I was hanging out, and I got a call, like, a few days later, and he's like, if you want, like, you have a spot here, come out, like, please, like, we'll start doing shows and stuff in September, so if you could get here in August, that would be awesome. And I was like, all right, I'll do it. And so I, like, randomly moved to Sacramento, got a weird job grading, like, those standardized tests, and so I would do that in the day, and then I would go and do, like, improv or sketch at night, and, like, I had nothing to lose, and I had nothing to do, so anytime I could, I was at that theater, and I made some awesome friends. That's where I met Tony. She was a part of the group I was on, and we became, like, best friends really quick, and we're just like, you make me laugh, like, let's do this. And so I was there for, like, a year and a few months, and then together Tony and I were like, let's do LA. Let's go to UC, and through that we learned about UCB, and we're like, let's go. Let's move to LA and go. And I was, you know, more than happy to once again get, like, a shitty job that would support me, as long as I could take classes and live here and learn improv and sketch. And so we moved here, and I got a shitty job at Target for a while, and then a shitty job at that, like, Mickey Mouse soda fountain place right by El Capitan, which was god-awful, and then a shitty job at Backdraft at Universal Studios, and just was taking classes and just so poor, but having so much fun and loving LA immediately.
There's something very, like, cool and Wizard of Ozzy about you going to Sacramento, like, randomly.
Yeah.
Meeting Tony there, who it feels like you were, like, destined to meet.
Yeah.
And, like, moving to LA, and then, like, doing all the things you guys have done.
Yeah, it's wild. It's really wild, and, like, my family has always been, like, kind of just, like, let's move and hope, or I guess, like, my sisters have always been like, oh yeah, I don't want to live in Colorado or Wyoming. I want to get out and try new things. Like, we've always been a family where it's like, I want to try new things, I want to live a few places, like, figure stuff out. But yeah, it was wild, and it was just like, everything happens for a reason, and that solidifies it even more. I'm just like, everything, because I think, like, what would have happened if I had moved right to LA from college? Because I learned so much in Sacramento. Like, we started doing short form, but then started, like, doing long form and learning about long form and getting and Brian Kroll, who's the director, was friends with Jeff Sloniker. And so Sloniker would tell us and come and teach us, like, the UCB idea of game. And like, I think of that, of, like, what if I had moved to LA before? Would I still be here? Would I have even really thought of UCB? Or would I have been at Second City? Like, it all works out. Everything happens for a reason. And just, like, thinking about all of this stuff, it's like, that just solidifies it for me even more. Because I've always thought that.
I also feel like there's something interesting to, I feel like a lot of people, when they start doing improv, it's like they might look at you and go, like, oh my gosh, like, I can never be that. And like, because you're so natural. But it's, like, amazing that before you had even started classes at UCB, you had already been doing improv in different experimental ways for, like, 5 years.
And
theater on stage for, like, your entire life.
Yeah, because, like, that's such a big thing, is just getting comfortable up there on that stage, which I had been before doing improv, where it's like, oh yeah, I feel the most comfortable on a stage. Now let's just learn how to make stuff up instead of reading lines. But, it's been a whole life of leading up to being able to improvise and stuff.
So what were your classes like, and what was, like, the journey up to, like, auditioning for Herald teams and stuff?
Well, I was so I had those, like, shitty jobs for a while, and it was tough. Like, I was really struggling financially and stuff. And then I got
Which didn't you like of them? Or did you like them all in different ways?
Hated all of them because it was
Backdraft hot?
It was hot. It was hot. And
what does it mean that you were working there? Like, you were...
I was, like... Because you would, like, do you remember going on it at all?
Kind
it wasn't
of.
even going on.
I haven't been in a while.
It was walking through. It's gone now. But you would walk into a room, and I would, like, lead people in the room, be like, everybody get to the right, far right, let's cram everybody in. You walk in, I'd push a button, a big screen would come down, and Ron Howard would be like, hi, I'm Ron Howard, I made Backdraft. And he would do, like, a 2-minute video, and then doors would open and lead into another room, where I would stand behind some glass and I'd push a button, and, like, there's a voiceover thing go, or maybe another video. I think there was another video playing, kind of talking about the making of, and then I'd push a button and this flame would happen, like a big flame would happen, and be like, whoa, whoa. And then I'd lead them into another room and make everybody please make it to the far right, get on, where you're like, the last room was a set piece where you would, like, everybody would be on a catwalk, and I'd go into this little booth, and everybody would be there, doors would close, I'd get a green light, and I'd push a button, and all these flames would happen, fire would happen, gas explosion, stuff like that. And then at the very end, the catwalk would drop like 2 inches and people would scream. And that was it. And so I would just walk people through that, or I would like be in the queue telling people like, hey folks, get in line, or what, I don't know what it was, counting people. So that was that. It was fine. I like that one the most out of all of them, because it was like pretty fun.
It's a very
chill,
funny job
like,
to have, to just
very
repeatedly
funny
make
job.
a room catch on fire.
I would get to like go on rides though at lunchtime and stuff, which was rad.
That is cool.
So that one I liked the most, but it was still that idea of like, you cannot be full time because we will not be giving you benefits, and you're minimum wage. So I'm not making a lot of money doing this. Whatever. That one was the funnest for sure. So I was, I think, taking like 101 while I was still in working those jobs, and I was working like the Disney one, the like El Capitan one, and Backdraft at the same time. Taking 101, and it was awesome. Joel Jensen was in my 101, and we immediately were like, you're funny, let's be friends. And so that was great. And Johnny Meeks was my teacher, and I was just so excited. Like, I was so excited to learn. I'd never been that excited about learning something before in my life, but I was so excited and ready and just like, yes, let's fucking do this. I want to be good. I want to do it. I want this so bad. I've never wanted anything as bad as I want to be able to do improv. And so it was so much fun. And yeah, 101 was great. And I was just like, so excited to be there and just take every note. And I loved Johnny immediately. I was like, he's so great. And I had seen him perform with Sentimental Lady. I just being like, oh my gosh, she's my teacher. This is awesome. And I remember doing that first 101 show and just having a blast and just killing it. You know, and I mean,
Yes.
who knows how much it was really killing it, but like my sister and brother-in-law came, and you know, it was just such a fun moment. And then I got a really rad job at pretty much at Sony with this company Beechwood, where it was a small company, and we would just rent out and store sets and props and stuff to like Sony Pictures and everything. It was a great job. Like, it was the first time I'd had a job where like I got benefits and they paid me well, you know, and it was really a great, like, it helped me take classes and get financially stable and ready to quit when I could. And so I worked there for 3 years. That's just a side note.
How did you get that job?
One of my sister and brother-in-law's friends worked at the company, and they were like hiring an assistant, and like he knew, because I had been hanging out with him and my sister and brother-in-law a lot, because they're so fun, and it was nice. It was wonderful having family in town. And he hit me up and he's like, hey, we're hiring. And he knew I hated my jobs, and I wasn't making money, you know, I wasn't happy. I was happy to be in LA and doing UCB, but I was so unhappy to be barely able to make rent and everything. Yeah. And so he hit me up and he's like, I told them about you, like, come in for an interview. You're gonna kill it. Like, you're more than enough qualified. And I went in and they were so cool. They're like, yeah, we'll hire you. And it was a life, like, because I don't know how much longer I could have done. Like, I really don't know, because I was, like, barely making rent. Like, my phone was getting shut off, like, all this stuff.
This was great timing for this.
Yeah, it was really perfect timing. And so, like, I got that job, and then that meant, like, oh my gosh. And it was a really great job that they supported everything I did. You know, they would come to shows and stuff. Once I started doing shows, they would come and support me, and, like, they were so cool. But it was also, that job was able to support me in taking classes, like, to be like, okay, great, I'm going to take classes. I'm able to now afford taking classes all the time, so I'm going to just keep doing that. And so then I started, like, 201, I met Steve Slaga, and I think Joel took 201. Like, I think we were like, let's take it together again. And then that's where I met Steve Slaga, and I had Brett Christensen, and he was awesome. He was so great, and I learned, that's where you learn game. And I remember just, like, it was hard but fun, and Brett was just great. He was so great, and that was cool. And then 301 I had with Steve. Again, we're like, let's take it again. And I had that with Julie Brister, which was just, she's the best. Because she's, like, so positive, but also will keep you in check, you know? Like, no, come on, guys. What are you doing? You know?
And it doesn't hurt for her to do that because of her being so kind.
Because of her, like, positivity with everything else. You're just like, oh, yeah, all right, you're right. And then I had, this was a big one, my first 401 with Daniel Schneider, who is awesome. And that class, I learned so much from that class. And that I took that class with Tony, met Justin Michael and Jacob Reed. Stephanie Allen was in that class. Who else? It was a really great class, and I just made so many friends. And that was, like, the beginning of, like, oh, let's start, like, practice group. Like, or I think I'd started practice groups before that. I can't remember really.
Did you begin, like, Ladies and Gentlemen out of that?
Yeah, that's where Ladies and Gentlemen
Which was you and Tony and Justin and Jacob?
Yeah, where we were just like, holy shit, you make me laugh. We all make each other laugh. Let's do this all the time. And then, like, Stephanie Allen she was so good, and it was so fun doing scenes with her. And we just had such a huge, it was a really fun class where I learned so much from Danielle. She did this one exercise that I just loved. She's like, okay, I want you guys to do the worst improv you've ever done. And so she split up the class in halves, and it was so much fun, and everybody was tagging out, doing walk-on, stuff like that. And she's like, you guys need to start attacking good improv like that, you know? She's like, you guys were having so much fun. You were making moves. Start doing that, but with good improv. And I remember just being like, oh, shit. Yeah, man. That was just one of many, but I remember that was the first day of class, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. And then that, while we were in class, was Herald auditions were starting, or were going to happen. And I remember, I think the four of us got or the five of us, me, Tony, Jacob, Justin, and Stephanie, I believe the five of us got the okay to audition, because you had to complete 401, but we were still technically in it.
Yeah.
And that was my first Herald audition, and it was so fun, and I did it with Tony and Justin and Jacob, I think, and they knew people, like, they had friends, so we, like, made this really fun team for that first round of, like, 8 people, and it was really fun, and we had a blast, and I got called back and went in to do the Herald, and I had a really awesome time. I actually don't really remember it, but yeah, I didn't make it. I didn't get on a team, and I was bummed. I was very bummed, but I was also like, okay, great, it's not my time yet. That's fine. Like, I wasn't meant to be on any of the teams that were made. Cool, I'm gonna work even harder. I'm gonna do as many shows as I can, take as many classes as I can, and workshops and advanced studies, whatever I can, and just work my ass off. And through that year, and doing indie shows, like, through that year, I started getting asked to do, like, one-off shows at the theater, bit shows, improv shows, everything, and making so many awesome friends in the community, you know, everything, and just everything started just happening then. And then taking 401s and 501s and advanced, all these stuff. And then second round came, and it was kind of, I was just going in there being with the attitude of like, and not in a dick way of just like, okay, this is my, like,
Yeah.
I am so ready to be on a team now. Like, this is it. You know, with that kind of attitude. I hope that doesn't sound dickish, but
Not at all.
just kind of like, this is it. I worked hard. This is my year. And then Bangarang happened. And it was just like, yeah, I did. Like, that was like such an amazing feeling, you know? And I felt so ready to do Heralds on Monday nights, you know? Even if it's with a group of almost all strangers, I was so ready to attack it and work hard and become the next sentimental lady, you know? And yeah, that was kind of that. And like, all of Bangarang was, we had that mentality of just right away, yes guys, let's work hard, let's be different, let's blow the audience's minds, you know, from day one, from that first year until now. Yeah.
That's so cool. So when did you start like getting to like do like things in TV shows and stuff like that, or like jobs that you would get paid for? In different ways?
It was, so it's wild. It's literally my first Herald night ever. Matt Besser was there, and I want to say like the next day or that Wednesday, I got an email from Lindsay saying Matt Besser would like you to audition for his Comedy Central pilot, which is a sketch show. And I was just like, oh my gosh, what? Holy shit, okay. And so like I wrote like 5 minutes worth of various characters, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is Matt Besser saw me, and holy shit, you know, I was blown away. And I did the first round, and he was so welcome, like he was so welcoming, like thank you for coming. And I was like, what? Thank you for having me. Holy shit, like I'm blown away. Like I'm such a fan, and thank you, your theaters, everything, like whatever. And I did it, and it was super fun. And he was laughing, and everybody was laughing. And then I was like, okay, that was fun. And like, hey, whatever, what a cool opportunity to like meet Besser and get to do this in front of him. Like, this is wild. And then I got another email being like, he wants you to come to callbacks. And I was just like, oh fuck. And I remember in callbacks, like Colton was there, and like Gemberling and Paul, like all these amazing people who I'd been watching on stage, and just like, you know, like, oh, just such a fan. And they were there, and I was like, how am I here? What's happening? You know? And the callback went great, and I got a call just from Besser, like maybe a week or two later, is being like, you want to be on the show, this Comedy Central pilot. And I was just like, oh my God, yes, of course I do. Like, I was so blown away. I'm like, what? I'm going to be at a pilot. And I was like, what's a pilot? Like, I didn't know what anything was, and I was just so excited. And through that, and when I was talking to Besser, he's like, do you have a manager or anything? I was like, no, I have nothing like that. I like really don't know anything about that. And he's like, I'll have my manager help you with this contract and stuff, and I'll set you up with a meeting to have like breakfast with him or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. And I met with him and we had breakfast and he was so cool and we just bonded immediately. And he was like, I'm definitely doing this contract for the pilot, but like, I will totally represent you. And I was just like, what? And it's Dave Becky who represents amazing people. And so I was just like, it was like 4 months of just being blown away. Cause then like, and my work was amazing. Like I was able, to take off, like they let me have a month off to like shoot the pilot and stuff, and it was just like, this is what it could be like. I was like, this is so crazy. And so that like, it really started like Herald Night, literally the first Herald Night I did, that was the beginning of it. And so then, and so that was, I think I was still like a year into my job, and so I worked there 2 more years, but like throughout those 2 years, I would go out for auditions if I could make it during my lunchtime at work or something, and then I just started getting offers here and there for like little things, Funny or Die things, like Funny or Die was a big part where, I would get offers to do a Funny or Die video, or I became a member of Cream around that time and starting to be like, oh my gosh, there is money, like money is involved in this. Okay, great. And still working and like really enjoying having that financial stability, like, and still working, taking classes, doing shows, now starting to do a lot more shows, stuff like that. And starting to get more offers and more little jobs and little things, to where I started around like 2.5 years in. I think I also started in my job at Beechwood, which is probably like 1.5 years into being on a Herald team. I started to coach more, started getting more coaching stuff, and I started, anytime I would get a job that wasn't my job, like book something or get offered something, I would put that money away and I would just save it. And I started then like every month putting a chunk of money from my Beechwood job into the savings account and just be like that, because I wanted to quit. It was a great job, but it was also it changed to get to be like, come in at 6 a.m. and work till 4:30, and it's like, it's a long day, and in Culver City, so it's a drive.
And with the shows you're doing at night.
And with shows that I was doing at night, that to me, that was my number one thing of like, it's a midnight show? Fine, great, I will do it. I'm just so excited to be doing shows. And so I wanted to quit, and so I like just started building up a little like, what's that, nest?
Yeah, a little nest egg.
Little nest egg. I was like, an egg nest? A nest egg. And then finally in October of 2011, I'll never forget, I was able to like quit my job, and I like kind of weaned off of it. And they knew like the whole time my drive was, I was here for comedy. I wanted to be a comedian and work and stuff. And so I was able to like quit in that October, because I like started like booking enough stuff and getting asked to do enough stuff and having to say no because I had a full-time job. But I started getting asked to do enough stuff where I was like, I think I'm going to go for it. And I had like a good chunk of change saved up. I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to quit. I can coach. Like I think I can get enough coaching to really help out. And it was really like, once again, things happen for like, it's like literally maybe like not even a week after I like quit and told them I was done, I got a call or an email from Neil being like, you want to start doing tour co for UCB.
Amazing.
And I was just like, oh my god, this is great. Like, I was so scared to take this leap, but now it's totally fine. There's something there to catch me, you know? And so, like, I started touring, like, a bunch, and it was so much fun, and I was coaching all the time, and, like, you know, getting little things here and there, and now I have time to really focus on auditions and stuff, which was huge, too, because, you know, when I was at Beechwood, it would be, like, maybe at the desk, like, looking at the script, be like, I guess I'm ready to go to this audition at lunch that I hope I can, you know.
Yes.
And it was just a mess. And now I was like, I'm kind of making my own schedule. Now I can focus on stuff. And then it was like, I just kept like kind of going out on more auditions that I was able to focus on and getting stuff and then getting offers. And then that following, in 2012, that year, that was like my first big pilot season. I guess, yeah, big pilot season where I was like going out a lot and for like these big pilots. And I had done like an audition when I was at Beechwood for pilot season, but it was a mess. You know, it was just kind of like whatever. And that's when I got Animal Practice, was that year.
Which, did that kind of blow your mind getting that?
Yeah, it blew my mind for sure. Because, like, I went in when it felt like pilot season was over, you know, where I was like, oh, I'm pretty much done with going in for, like, I guess, bigger or, like, series regulars. And then I went into Animal Practice, and everybody was so rad. And they're like, we're huge fans of you. Like, when I walked in, and I was like, what? And, like, I got the sides, and I was like, oh, my gosh, this is, like, very much how I am. Great, this is easy. This is going to be just straight up fun. And, like, they said, like, please improvise, you know, whatever. And I was like, and, and I had started, like, around this, I had started, like, just doing a lot of, like, fill-in shows and stuff. And, like, I started doing ASCAT, which was really cool, too. Like, I mean, a dream come true. And I remember, like, going in for Animal Practice, and Brian Husky was there. And I had, like, just done an ASCAT with him or something. And, like, I was so excited to see him and be like, I know you. Like, yeah, you're awesome. You know, because I was such a...
Yeah, you put yourself
like,
in this position where the people in the room knew you.
Yeah.
Which is, like, kind of a
like,
rare thing to have.
It was just so cool, and it was, like, the first time that I'd ever felt that in a room. And once again, they're like, thank you so much for coming in. I was like, what? Thank you guys for having, like, I'm so excited. And so I went in, and it went great. And it was, they're like, this is just a guest spot. It's a guest spot with potential of becoming recurring or something. And, like a week and a half or something passed, and I hadn't heard anything. And then I was coaching a group, and I kept getting all of these calls while I was like coaching from my manager, and I started getting texts from them of like, call us immediately, please call us immediately. And I was just like, okay. So I took a break, and I was like, I gotta make a phone call. And they're like, so you got Animal, it was at the time I think called Animal Kingdom. So you got it, and the deal they want, so as of now, for the pilot, you'll be guest, but if it gets picked up, they're making you recurring. And I was just like, what? And I was blown. Like, I was like, I had to go back and coach for like another hour, and I was just sitting there like, I gotta call my parents. I'm losing this is the coolest thing. I gotta tell my friend, like, holy shit, I wanna just lose my mind. And so then I like, and that was like just the craziest thing to me. I was like, I gotta do a fucking pilot for NBC. Oh my God, this is amazing. And it was God, every single thing about it just kept getting cooler and cooler. Like, I remember looking at the cast and looking people up and being like, holy shit, Justin Kirk. I love him. I'm the biggest fan of him him on Weeds is so good, and Angels in America, and going to the table read and just people being excited to see me, like meeting Justin for the first time and just being like, oh my God, I love you so much. And like Bobby Lee, I'm such a fan of Bobby Lee from that. Like just being blown away constantly and like doing the table read and it killing. And then I'm still like, I'm so blown away that I got to do that. And then that it got like picked up. That was crazy.
And it doesn't happen in many shows.
No, yeah, like it was so, all of it was so wild and nuts and fun. Like it was all so much fun and just like, I made great friends out of it and like, it was just an amazing experience. Like it was so crazy. Like, and it was just, and I remember like, while I was working at Beechwood and even not like having those days of being on set and stuff and like creating stuff with Cream and imagining like, oh my gosh, what if we got to do this every day and this was like our job? Whoa. And then being on Animal Practice, like just being like walking on Paramount, just being like, this is my job. This is crazy. Like, and I still, every single day, I'm just like, I can't believe this is my life. Like, what a fun, crazy life.
Yeah. Do you feel like Animal Practice was the thing that, like, changed, like made it somewhat easier to make, to get other roles after that point?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, like, I now go almost immediately to producers' sessions.
Oh, beautiful.
Like in pilot season and stuff. This sounds so, like, I didn't really know that was a thing. Because when I was, like, my first pilot season, which was when I got Animal Practice, like, I didn't know that was another step. I thought it was just kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. But it is like, oh, that's a big step. Like, that's a nice step to take to get to go right from nothing into the producer's session or whatever. So that was a big thing.
And since Animal Practice, like, what have been kind of the highlights of the things you've gotten to do on TV or in movies, like, since then?
All, like, Comedy Central stuff. Like, I got to do an episode of The Review, which was amazing.
Yes, and you were very funny on that.
Oh, thank you.
Big Time in Hollywood.
Big Time in Hollywood, Kroll Show, Another Period. Like, that Comedy Central has been just amazing. Always. They've been amazing always. It's so cool. Oh, God.
That CBS show.
Oh, The Millers?
Yeah.
That one with Will Arnett, who was just... I was just blown away with being next to him. I was like, oh man, I made him laugh once. That was great. Clipped has been awesome on TBS.
And that's what you're doing. You're doing that right now.
Yeah. That has been just an amazing experience.
And you can do
Everyone
Clipped
involved.
with, like, Lauren's on that show, too.
Yeah, and Deanna, and now they're all my friends. But, like, yeah, it was really wild of, like, Lauren and I being like, oh my God, we're on a TV show together. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Comedy Bang Bang has been so much fun getting to do that. Oh gosh. Voiceover stuff. Getting to start to do a lot of voiceover stuff. Like I did Bob's Burgers. That was a dream come true because I love that show. Any voiceover is just so fun.
Getting to be in Monsters University.
Oh my God, yeah! Monsters University. That was wild.
Which just made me so happy to be in the movie theater and hear your voice.
Oh my God, that's the coolest.
So it's also cool. You're just like living the dream.
It's
right
fun.
now.
Yeah.
What would you hope would happen like from here? do you like feel like just so content with where you are that like you don't really like aspire anymore to something else, or is there like a next part of the dream?
There's a next, even though I am so happy with this is perfect. Like, I love this so much. I would love to like sell a show. That's a huge thing. That's a huge goal of mine. As much as like this is so, like, I would love to create and sell a show.
And what kind, like, is there like a dream network for it? Or like, would it be a cartoon or like for a certain demographic?
Cartoon would be amazing to sell a cartoon. Comedy Central would be a great.
And would it be a show that you create and you're the lead of?
Yeah, that would be absolutely it. Even if it was a cartoon, I would be doing a voice on it. You know, like, I would love to. That would be a dream. Because
you still haven't done a show yet where you're like the lead.
Right.
And you should be. Like,
oh,
you should have your I Love Lucy up today.
Oh, God, I would love to do an I Love Lucy. Mano can be my Ricky. That would be perfect. But yeah, that's kind of the next thing that I want. Even though I am like so happy, I think I would be weird if I don't know, because I always want more, I guess, is the only way to put it. That sounds so weird. It sounds kind of mean, but I guess I want to create more. Like, I guess I always want to be creating something.
Yes.
Like, to me, that's the fun. And luckily I have improv, so I get to do that. But, like, why not try to create a cartoon or
your own show on Comedy Central?
Yeah, like, I feel we have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You know?
And what about SNL? Like, that used to be a part of your dream, was like, SNL.
It really did.
Where does SNL fall in, like, your kind of mindset of the world now?
It's now, I feel it would be amazing, but it's not. I don't even think it's really a thing anymore for me. I feel like I don't think I could handle it, personally. Like, I think it would be too much of a situation that I, as a human, could no longer handle. Like, it would be too intense for me.
It's in New York, which gives you panic.
New York is already too terrifying for me, but also just like the schedule and just the stories like that you read about and hear about. It's just like, ooh, I honestly don't think I could put my best work out there in that kind of environment anymore. Maybe a few years ago I could have, but like now I don't think I could, you know?
So part of the fun of this show, I think, is like that it's a like little bit of a time capsule of, like, Betsy Sodaro 2015.
Oh, yeah.
What are some things you think might be interesting about your life today to, like, you and other people of 2020, 2025, and, like, after that? Like, either about, like, just what your day-to-day life is or anything else that comes to mind.
That's great. Okay. Well, get this, future. My car, which is a 2010, still has manual locks and windows. That blows my mind every time.
It seems in general, like, off of that, you seem like you live pretty, like, humbly still. Just, like, you're, like, you've been in at least, like, the same apartment, like, since when you didn't have a lot of money. So, do you keep yourself that way on purpose? Like, I mean, you love living with the people you live with and living in that house.
And, like, my car still works great. And I, like, maybe the older I've gotten, I've become more of just kind of, like, I'd rather, like, travel or go to fun dinners or do fun experiences more than buying stuff.
Yeah, I noticed you don't have, like, the gold Apple Watch on your hand.
No, not yet. No, I don't even know why. I have an iPhone. That's all you need.
But yeah, you don't buy into like, you don't want a lot of material stuff.
Yeah, like I'd way rather go to Europe than than buy a new TV or something. You know, like especially when everything's working. Like I'm gonna drive my car into the ground. I do get embarrassed sometimes pulling up to valets or something where it's like, oh yeah, it's filthy and automatic or no automatic anything, but whatever.
Do you have any like remaining like worries about things not working out the way that you want to, or like fears for like or any fears?
I feel like I'm constantly worrying about stuff not working out, but I'm also able to like stop the worry by looking at what is, you know, because it's so easy to like go to an audition and be like, oh God, I want that. So, oh God, I hope I get that, and you don't get it. And it's so easy to let that like drive you nuts. But I've in the last like 2 or 3 years have been able to really just be like, okay, fine. I just was like, that's fine. Let's look at what I have, you know. Let's look at what I have. That's great. I have this to look forward to. I have this to work on. Even if it's just like, I have an improv show tonight. Great. I get to still get in front of people, make them laugh. Bummer I didn't get that role, whatever it might be. Fears, like, I think a fear is just to, like, the idea of, like, being unhappy really scares me, which I hope will never happen, you know, but, like...
Is there anything you think you could do that would, like,
make me unhappy?
Uh-huh.
Oh, probably like a porno or something. I don't know. Like, it's really hard to think of. Because I also do try to... I always have tried to just keep things positive, you know, of like, well, how can I make this situation make me happy, you know?
Yeah,
I think really don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer, because I think you're just like, you don't have it in you. You're just like beacon of light.
Oh, thanks, man. But yeah, like, I think being unhappy, and then just a fear in life is like, oh, dying alone or just getting too old. I'm scared to death of getting, like, I do not want to be an old person who, like, doesn't know where their keys are when it's like, you don't have keys. That's, I guess Alzheimer's scares me.
I think the nice thing, too, is that have such a community of friends who love you.
Yeah.
That, like, you know that Mano is going to be right next to you.
Oh, yeah. I told him, like,
when
if
you're
I
very
get
old.
super old, he has to kill me.
He might be really senile, too. But.
Yeah, maybe we'll be senile together. But no, yeah, I feel so lucky. Like, I mean, our community is just the greatest thing. Like, it's awesome. And not a lot of people have that.
Okay, 2 final questions.
Okay, great.
Number 1, if you could give some advice to somebody just starting out in LA,
Okay.
Who wants to do comedy
Okay.
with the rest of their life, what would your advice be?
Okay, this is great. And I think a big, like, almost that do what makes you laugh. And do what makes you laugh, and that will hopefully help you find your voice. Like, finding your voice is giant, I think, you know, and just being yourself is so huge, even in the world, even improv, like, having those little nuggets of, like, oh, yeah, that's totally, you can do characters and stuff, but, like, having that moment of, like, oh, yeah, that's you as a comedian, that's huge. You need that voice. And then another, like, this is just an industry one that I, like, only in the last, like, 2 years have really gotten, and I wish somebody told me so bad when I was beginning, but I guess that's how it is like, like this is a very like industry one of like when you're auditioning, no matter what happens, no matter what role it is you're going out for, be so excited to just be getting in front of those people, the casting director or a producer or whatever. Because like I've gone in for roles where it's written for a guy or, you know, whatever it might be, where you're like, this is not me. Go in there, do your thing, and kill it. Treat it like a performance, but always think of that of like, I'm getting in front of these awesome people who will bring you back. That's the thing that I wish I had known. It's never ever like a one-time shot. It's a thing of like, go in there, do your thing, kill it, because they will remember you no matter what.
Oh, that's great.
And like I guess I don't know who would have told me that. I guess you just so kind of learn it, but like I didn't realize that that's such a big thing.
Yeah, I wish I had like taken that to heart.
Yeah.
I auditioned like a year ago for a thing called Genie in a Bikini, and like I kind of phoned it in because I like didn't really want to play a genie. I would have had to wear a bikini on Nickelodeon to play this genie in the weird world where I got it. And I should have brought it more for the role.
But like I that is a silly one. That I don't know if I would have really given it
No, but
my all,
that casting director could have seen what a good genie I could have been.
What a good genie, yeah. And even if in the end, like, well, you're not right for the genie, but hey, here's another project. Because that's happened a ton of where even like I'll go in and they know, and they'll even say like, look, we know you're not right for this part, but we want you to get on tape, show you the producers because they may have something for you. Like that's such a huge thing that I had no idea happened, and it happens constantly, you know. And you get offers sometimes just from like, hey, you weren't right for this part, but you are right for this part. And that's like a big thing.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay. And also, what advice would you give today to, we don't know what she'll be like, but Betsy Sodaro of the year 2045?
Oh my God, how old will I be?
There's 30 years older than you are now.
Oh my. What advice will I give me from me?
Yeah, like
now?
just like what do you want, like if you're listening to this in that year, what do you want to remind yourself, like in case you've forgotten?
Oh my gosh. Travel. Live. Go have fun. Yeah.
Perfect.
That's it. Yeah.
Betsy, you're wonderful.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you so much
this
for
is so
coming
fun.
on.
Is that what? We just talk?
That's
Is that
it.
good?
Yeah. Oh, no, now we begin the interview.
Okay. Oh,
That's
God.
the pre-interview.
Okay. Great. Pre-interview. Thanks so much.
Oh,
that
thank
was
you.
so fun.
Yeah, you're amazing.
Oh, man. You're the best.
Thank you, Betsy.
That was really fun.
Favorite song I wrote in a cluttered room with the ceiling low. So if I stand too straight or I stand too tall, I bump my head and forget it all.
So, thank you for listening to my interview with Betsy Sodaro. Can you believe how cool Betsy is? There's really nobody else in the world like her. If you want to see Betsy perform live at UCB, you can see her sketch group Nephew perform the first Wednesday of every month at UCB Sunset. Or, if you want to see Betsy doing some improv, you can see her performing with Bangarang every Friday at 8 p.m. at UCB Franklin, or in the Search History Show every Sunday at 11, also at UCB Franklin. Again, if you like this episode of On the Cusp, I hope you'll listen to some others and possibly subscribe to the show. Maybe consider listening to the Mary Holland episode or the Nicole Byer episode. And if you have a kid in your life who likes children's books or helicopters, consider buying them my children's book, How to Keep Your Helicopter. Special thanks to Mano Agapian for talking to me at the beginning of this episode, to Casey Trila and Hi-Ho Silvero for all the music in this episode, to my sound editor, Joe Burge, and to my producer, Cece. My bum is on the Ethereum, Pierce. This has been On the Cusp.
Beanie, 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 beanie. Da-doom, doom, da-doom. That's your outro music.